Good evening, and welcome to the WPCA and regular town council meeting for North Branford. It is Tuesday, June 17th at 6:31. Please join me in a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Mayor Angeloni.
Here.
Deputy Mayor McMillan.
Present.
Counselor Abelson.
Here.
Counselor Diamond.
Here.
Counselor Goad.
Here.
Counselor Miller.
Here.
Counselor Palladino.
Here.
Counselor Palicia.
Here.
Counselor
Here.
Counselor Zampana.
I'm here.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to accept the minutes of the May 20th, 2025 WPCA and Town Council meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Motion was made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Councilor Diamond. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Do I hear a motion to accept the minutes of the May 27th, 2025 special meeting for the Town Council?
Motion.
Motion was made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Councilor Diamond. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries. Now on to WPCA. First item is correspondence, citizen statements regarding WPCA. Hearing none, moving on to item 4, sewer flows from Lake Gillard Water Treatment Plan, which was tabled from last month.
Good evening. So the proposal is to amend their current contract. So it was started in 1982, and they had a flow of, I think it was 29,800. And then over time, when they increased the plant size, they had an increase in wastewater flow up to last year, where we just entered into a 5-year agreement last year, and that included the flows that you saw was a 110,000 peak flow, or 110,000 gallon per day average flow, and then 140,000 gallon for a peak flow. What they're seeking to do, they've just recently made improvements to the plant, made more water conservation additions, and they're looking to reduce their average daily flow to 70,000 and reduce their peak to 130,000 gallons per day. And so they pay a per gallon price, so they're not going to, they're still going to have to pay for whatever water they use over the year. And they do have to pay for an additional capacity, which will be reduced because they're looking to reduce the flow coming out of the plant. I believe that we included a graph of the recent data. You can see over the last few months that the flow has reduced based over what it was in the historic. So the only thing that's changing in this amendment is those two flows, the peak flow and then the average daily flow. Other than that, the contract is staying as it is existing, and we're not extending it 5 years. It'll just be 4 years from when this is approved. That's how much time is remaining in the existing amendment.
There is, because we have to accept it.
Try to find this.
It is a very complicated contract to try to figure out what's going on, but that's the summary of it, what they're looking to do.
The suggested motion is a long one. It's on page 75 of our,
Okay, hold it up.
so you probably don't have to read the whole thing because it's pretty
Yeah.
lengthy.
You want me to, I'll make a motion as stipulated on page 75 of our agenda. Is that fine?
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion was made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Councilor Diamond. Discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is new business, none. Citizen statements and petitions regarding WPCA. Seeing none, we'll move on to the regular town council meeting. Community events and presentations. I don't think there's any. Reports of committees, boards, and commissions. First one is Economic Development Commission.
At the past meeting that they had, they were discussing on trying to have a meeting with planning and zoning, because they wanted to discuss some of the zoning rules. And what they're basically trying to do is work on trying to get more people, more companies to come into our town. So Rory has developed some types of plans to work on strengths, threats, opportunity, and weaknesses. So they've been very adamant of trying to work together and figure out a way to come up with some type of plan. So next meeting, we'll see what goes on.
Okay. All right, thank you. Park and Recreation, their next meeting is next week, the 24th. But I can tell you that we are into basically the home run for the POCO Fest, which is in about 6 weeks. So, council members, as I ask every year, we need some volunteers to help out in the beer and wine garden for helping us in there. We like to have town, either council members or employees doing our ID checks in there. Actually, this year, Central Cafe from North Branford is going to be running our beer and wine tent for us. And Norm and his wife Mar are very excited and is really getting into it. He is actually thinking about trying to get some Central Cafe merchandise with the POCO theme that he will also sell, for himself. But he's been very proactive in getting all of his permits and getting everything done through the police department. And I think it'll be a great addition knowing the community. He has established quite the little business up in Central Plaza, so that will be exciting for us. So that's all that I have right now. Police Commission.
The Police Commission met on June 9th. We had a building update, and I think Walter and I were a little dismayed to hear about the fact that they're digging drains in the back that were never put in by the builder. There's a half-inch crack all the way through the back parking lot. The heating and cooling system is still not working properly. I'm hoping that somebody's looking into this and going after our builder, because I think there are a number of issues here, and I understand that it's Public Works that's doing all that digging now, or the drains and whatever, and obviously there's a cost involved. So that was one of the things that was kind of distressing. Unless you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, then the other thing was that
Okay,
night was the vests too, the new vests.
The department is continuing to work on its accreditation. They're in tiers 2 and 3, and they're doing very well. They also extended a conditional police officer position to a woman named Jen Brown. The commission had an interesting presentation from a police union where they're interested in having, and Nick, you could probably help me with this, outer vest instead of carrying anything on them.
Yeah.
I think the commission is willing to go forward, but they want the police chief to come up with the parameters and exactly how it's going to.
Yeah, they're
happen.
outstanding. It's the best
And,
move we've ever made.
I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
It's so much more, by having it on the outside and stuff, it's not only are things more accessible, but it cuts down on the hip and lower back issues that officers end up having after 20 years of wearing an additional 30 pounds around your waist. This way it spreads the load and it's easier if you're gonna be in the station for a while typing reports, you can take it off. So our department went a couple years ago and now like 90% of the guys and girls are wearing them and absolutely love them.
Oh, it's true,
They
when you
said it
see
was-
all the stuff they carry on those
Yeah.
belts,
They said it was gonna be optional too. In other words, they'd
we
have
a
the
few
choices, the
people that
officers would have
didn't
a
wanna,
choice.
You know, do it, but for the most part, everyone's going to them.
That's good.
So I guess that depends on the chief coming up with the requirements of how that's gonna happen. And that's about it.
Okay, thank you. Fire Commission.
So, Fire Commission met on June 5th, the Thursday of this month. Just want to reiterate a couple of things. One, they are looking at hiring a chaplain, thank you, I'm sorry, I'm not Catholic, to a part-time position, and they're getting very close to hiring this person. Hopefully next month I'll be able to report on that person. I just want to also state, somebody had asked last month the number of calls per station, per district. So total we have, for company number 1, which is here in North Branford, is 130 calls. Company number 2 is in Northford, which is 44 calls. And company number 3, which we had up in Northford also, is 19 calls. There were,
Is that for a month?
for the month of May.
Okay.
Right. That's by the district. So there were a total of 2 fires, 132 emergency medical, 13 motor vehicle accidents, which is getting pretty bad because people need to slow down. 7 hazardous conditions, 22 public service and good intent calls, 6 residential fire alarms, 8 commercial fire alarms, and 3 mutual aid calls. I know there were a couple of calls last month, some severe motor vehicle accidents. I'd like to put it out there that people really need to slow down because it's getting pretty bad. And that's basically what I'd like to report.
What's a
Okay.
good intent call?
Good intent call is someone drives by and sees smoke, and you go investigate, and it's a guy on a fire pit or an
Okay.
outdoor furnace, something like that.
Okay.
It's good intent. So they had good intentions, but it was nothing really.
Okay.
Bruce, did you say they put something out for a captain?
Chaplain.
Oh, chaplain. Now, it's my understanding that a month ago they put out, they wanted to put out a release to hire a permanent chief.
That's not, next month. I'll have some more information for you next month. This
Rory, you
month,
didn't
no.
get anything?
Yeah, we've been working on it, working through some issues with the labor attorney, but I think we definitely will be ready by next month.
Which labor attorney was that?
At Bertram, Chris Hodgson.
Because I talked to Brian today, and he wasn't aware that it went out or there were any issues with it.
Yeah, I've been working with Chris because he does all the labor issues.
When is that going to be ready, do we know?
I think we came pretty close today, probably by the end of the week. Should
Okay.
be good to go.
Thank you.
We have a couple, right?
For the chaplain.
No, for the chief.
Hasn't gone out yet.
Also, no, no.
That's why they submitted it a month ago, and it still hasn't gone out, so.
Right, sorry. So that's
No,
why I'm
it's
not
not your
reporting on
fault.
it. I just know about the chaplain, and they're getting very close to sitting there hiring.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Planning and Zoning Commission,
Meeting is June 19th.
okay. Finance Subcommittee did not meet this month. It was high school graduation that night. So our next meeting will be July 8th. Public Safety Communications Subcommittee,
There was a special meeting of the Public Safety Committee on May 29th. Thanks to the town manager, we had all the parties involved. We had members from the commissions, town attorney, we had our consultant for the network, we had representatives from Motorola and Norcom. A lot of discussion centered on the issues with the repeaters and with the pagers, which is the constant discussion. There was a lot of give and take. I think people felt it was a successful meeting. They agreed to meet again, but I'm talking to Anthony, that may not be necessary. Fortunately, the good news is on June 2nd, when they tested all the repeaters, finally all the radios were working. So that's good news. I guess we just have to hope the same thing happens with all the pagers. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Inland wetlands,
Okay, inland wetlands has in front of it an application for a subdivision of 6 lots, which would have access to West Pond Road and to Glenwood at the end of the cul-de-sac. The commission, the inland wetlands, had a site walk on Saturday. There's a public hearing tomorrow night, and then there's another meeting next Wednesday night. So, unfortunately, I won't be able to attend the public hearings, but I'll get information. Thanks to our secretary, I'll know what happened.
okay. Yeah, so I'll just say that I did go on the walkthrough on Saturday because this property is at the end.
That's right on your property.
It does. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with inland wetlands, because it is a cul-de-sac. We do have an ordinance as to how many houses can go on a cul-de-sac. And with this subdivision, they're putting in what is called a paper road to have access to West Pond Road, which they say will never be built, because I think it would be very costly because it has to go through a lot of wetlands. So it'll be an interesting discussion to see what happens at the public hearing tomorrow night. I've never heard of a paper road, and I don't, because this is just inland wetlands and it's not planning and zoning yet, I would have a lot of concerns about what it would cost to put an actual road in there if they need to put a road. I mean, it's on paper, and they're making provisions to have enough land to put the road in, but who would be responsible in the cost and everything else? Because the property is quite wet in areas, and there would have to be a lot of fill, and so I just don't know how that works, and it'll be interesting.
What I don't know, and Tom probably has the answer, if inland wetlands doesn't approve it, does it go forward to planning and zoning?
I'm not sure.
Well, they could approve some of the lots, but not all of the lots.
It sounds, from what I hear, it sounds like there's a lot of wetland.
There is a lot of wetlands, yes. So,
You could still
I've
build on a paper road, just to an extent. I live technically on a paper road. My driveway is technically a paper road, but they never built the road. So it's just my driveway, and then it never extended past that. It should be Bluebird Lane, but on Jackson Lane.
but
Can you pave a paper road?
I don't know. Danny,
They didn't do
do you know anything about a paper road?
I'm learning as you
It's-
Okay, all right.
It's in
I just looked
concept.
it up,
By
and
the way it sounds,
it's
I'm like-
depicted on the map.
Yes.
But there's never anything done with it.
Correct.
So it's like a
It's a
ghost,
cut-through.
it's like a ghost road. They don't
Yeah.
do it, it's not a dirt road, it's not anything.
It's like a right of
Mine
way.
goes from
Yeah.
Jackson
Clearly
to
like a right of
Dogwood.
way.
It's just depicted on the map.
There's another
Just
one
doesn't-
between
they don't clear it, doesn't it?
Skylark Drive and Bluebird, I believe. They never cut through. Same reason. It's always because of generally during concept that was there, they put it into the mapping, but then they found some environmental issue as to not allow it, like wetlands or whatever else. It doesn't perk, whatever else could
Right.
stop it from the development, but it's still within the map.
Yeah, so it'll be an interesting public hearing tomorrow night. That's all I can say. It was quite the walk, though, for 2 hours
I can
on
imagine.
Saturday, so, yes.
Check for checks.
But, okay. Next is Blueprint Committee.
No meeting.
Okay. All right, on to Town Manager's Report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Happy belated Father's Day. Hope everyone here and watching had a great Father's Day weekend celebrating with family and loved ones. And also happy belated Flag Day, which was Saturday the 14th, which is a perfect time to remind everyone that we have our own town flag for the town of North Branford, and there's a 3x5 outdoor version available to residents to show community spirit, available through our purchasing department for $40 each. The North Branford Women's Club held their annual Honor Them with a Flag fundraiser ceremony on Thursday, June 12th at 7 p.m. at the Town Hall. I was pleased to join Mayor Angeloni in attending this event. The flags that are now placed in the Town Hall lawn are from that event in honor of servicemen and women, as well as first responders, organized by Branch of Service. Special thanks to Chuck Larkins of the Veteran Service Commission, who emceed the event, Fire Chief Esposito and our Public Safety Color Guard, and our EMD Bill Seward, who provided bagpipes, and the Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts are presented the colors. It's a great event every year to honor family and friends who served and are serving. Flags will remain on the lawn until July 14th weekend. Those who purchased a flag with a loved one's name on the ribbon can pick it up after then. Congratulations to both the North Branford Intermediate and North Branford High School classes of 2025. Ceremonies for both graduations were held last week, and we wish the best to the intermediate graduates now moving on to high school, and to our high school graduates now moving on to college, trade careers, or other pursuits. Congratulations to North Branford's Randall Chittenden, Will Delacamera, and Dan Arman. They've been selected as North Branford Rotary Club's 2025 Service Above Self honorees. They'll be honored for their distinguished service at a community ceremony on Thursday, June 26, 6 p.m. at Woodwinds in Branford. Anyone interested in getting tickets for this event can get them via the NB Rotary Facebook page or email northbranfordrotary@gmail.com. Congratulations are also in order to the North Branford girls softball team, who defeated St. Paul 4-2 on Saturday afternoon to become the Class S state champions. This is North Branford's first CIAC championship, a terrific accomplishment for Coach Nick DeLizio and the incredible players on this team, proudly adding another championship to North Branford's mini sports distinctions. I'm pleased to report that Jennifer Langdon of the Town Clerk's Office successfully passed her Town Clerk Certification exam from the Connecticut Town Clerks Association. Completion of this process takes 2.5 years in the field, as well as passage of 5 extensive modules of examination. And we're proud of Jennifer for this accomplishment and the further distinction and pursuit of excellence that reflects well on the Town Clerk's Office and our town. We were blessed with great weather on a Memorial Day parade, which was on the North Branford side of town this year on the 26th. Thanks again goes to Gina Cox and Kathy Poston in conjunction with our Veterans Service Commission, as well as our police, public safety, and public works personnel. I was pleased to join with Mayor Angeloni, Deputy Mayor McMillan, Councilor Palladino, as well as Representative Vincam Laura in marching and attending this event. Congratulations to Kathy Poston, who was this year's Grand Marshal, and hopefully everyone who attended still got to see our flyover by the F-130, which was a little late showing up.
I have a video.
It's from the air wing of the Connecticut Air National Guard. Yeah, I was walking back up to the crest of the hill, and it flew right over, so hopefully most people still saw that. It was pretty impressive. I was pleased to join with Mayor Angeloni, Assistant Town Manager Burke, and the Shoreline Chamber of Commerce on June 5th to officially welcome Mike's Hand Car Wash and Auto Detailing and Lube on Route 80 in North Branford. It is a bit of a belated celebration, as they have been open a couple of years now, but we're thrilled to welcome Mike and Emily Cavassi and their staff and celebrate their outstanding car cleaning and auto service they provide. I was also pleased to join with Mayor Angeloni and Assistant Town Manager Burke and the Shoreline Chamber of Commerce to celebrate the Food Pantry of North Branford's 10-year anniversary on June 8th. And we are, of course, pleased to see them celebrate this milestone at their new location on Forest Road at the old police station. The event was marked appropriately with a food drive, as well as some fun and raffles. More events will be coming, and the council will be notified as we schedule them. On the legislative front, there are a few notes to pay attention to. The legislature adjourned its 2025 session on June 4th. The state biennial budget that passed puts us up about $330,000 more in state grants than we had plugged into our adopted budget, which was based off the governor's proposed budget and essentially restores the ECS grant and increases our town aid road funds. You'll remember that I reported on farm legislation a few months ago, which establishes a fund to help farmers who have a crop loss due to acute weather events. I provided testimony on behalf of the town for this legislation, which was brought forth by our legislative delegation, spearheaded by Representative Candelora, Senator Cohen, and Senator Ciccarella, which would assist farms such as Ciccarelli's Harrison Hill Farm, Bishop's Orchards, and Rosa Bianca Vineyard, which suffered losses during a freak hailstorm last August. This is Senate Bill 1497, and I'm pleased to report that this legislation passed the Connecticut General Assembly. It also allows for innovative drone use for farming, and the bill is now on the governor's desk and awaiting his signature. There's also a housing bill that passed, which has had some controversy attached to it, as it erodes some aspects of local zoning control relative to affordable housing. Bill 5002 includes a number of provisions that are opt-in but prioritize some state funding toward those that do opt-in. Under current law, towns with populations of 25,000 or more are required to have a fair rent commission. This legislation drops that population requirement to those over 15,000. North Branford just misses this population threshold, so the bill, if the bill is signed, we would not be among the new 32 towns that are required to do so. At the last meeting of the Connecticut Conference of Municipalities, I joined with the majority of the town representatives to voice opposition to the legislation and to vote to have CCM send a formal request to the governor that he veto this bill. And to date, the bill remains on his desk. An update on our fiber installation. The town fiber project remains in progress. The final connectivity test between Stanley T. Williams and NBIS was today. Dennis Pannone worked today with OmniData to connect STW to our NBIS data center. And a few more weeks will be needed to complete the fiber connection test and cut over. The target date remains for completion to be prior to June 30th. The town council previously authorized me to list the town-owned property at 672 Totucket Road for sale via competitive bid. The posting was listed as of yesterday afternoon and will close on July 9th. The results of the competitive bid will be reported back to the council when it is concluded. Just a reminder that I put out a monthly newsletter by email that goes out on the fourth Friday of every month. The next one will go out this Friday, June 20th. The newsletter contains news and announcements from the town and is a great way to keep up with what we have happening in town. There's a sign-up form on the front page of my page on the town website to receive the newsletter. Also, as a reminder, we have town emergency notifications available through Civic Ready that residents can sign up for. You can text North Branford, no spaces, to 38276 to get emergency alerts and community notifications. You can also sign up online at northbranfordct.gov/alerts or call 475-655-0400 to sign up via phone. Notifications go out via text, email, and phone. As a reminder, in observation of Independence Day holiday, town officials will be closed. Town offices will be closed on Friday, July 4th. As this is a trash holiday, collection for those who regularly have their trash collected on Friday will be pushed back one day to Saturday. We wish everyone a safe and happy 4th of July celebration. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Permanent Project Building Committee update?
Yes, with the North Branford Police Station, as mentioned by Councilor Diamond, the HVAC system, while it's been balanced, the humidity issue to date has not been resolved and it remains under review. Warranty and punch list items that are ongoing, which includes the work in the parking lot, is underway. North Branford High School, the punch list and closeout is ongoing. Glass review is complete and replacements are scheduled over the summer. Paving is set to begin next week. North Branford Intermediate School, the majority of the base project is complete. Siding replacement is complete and the sidewalk replacement is being scheduled. Stanley T. Williams project, the revised list of possible projects remains under review. Stanley T. Williams Community Center Pavilion. Pavilion is mostly completed and was used for the senior picnic last week, and we're awaiting railing and stair completion. Department of Public Works building, the bid has been opened and recommended award has been approved by the council. Edward Smith Library, the RFP for the design has been advertised, and the committee did not meet last night due to a lack of a quorum and will next meet on Monday, June 23rd. That concludes my report.
Okay, on the DPW building.
Yeah.
Since that project, based on information from last year, when this has actually been going on for 2.5 years, from the start of the project through. So since we've approved everything, we approved the RFP and everything else, was the contract signed and was the purchase order issued so that this project can get underway?
I believe so.
Purchase order is in my queue to approve. I haven't
Yeah,
approved it yet.
we haven't signed off on the final. yet. Yeah,
Okay,
right.
and is there a holdup with it?
I just want to make sure the funding issue, which one we're going to pay internally, which one we're going to bond, and notes.
Well, when we discussed this last year, to my recollection, we were not bonding
Right.
for this project. We were gonna pay it out of our unassigned fund balance.
Correct.
So, and according to the preliminary numbers from the auditor, we have enough in our unassigned fund balance to definitely pay for this without going to bond. So what would be the next step? I mean, the longer we wait on this project, it's going to cost us more. Just with cost of materials going up, tariffs going in, everything else, and the timeline. I know, Franny has done some pre-work on the site to get ready for when it's can finally move forward. So
Right.
just want to know what the timeline is.
It'd be nice to have this done in time so that the guys during plow season have a nice facility, especially if we have some big storms. So time is of the essence with this. We talked about this last night, and this is a little frustrating why this hasn't been approved yet.
Right, understood. Yeah, I would say if we're gonna go with using what we have in the fund balance, we should be able to just process that, now that we have the number. So we'll make that, we'll make
Okay.
that happen.
All right. Okay, next item is citizen statements, petitions, and correspondence.
I'm sorry, Madam Mayor, I'm sorry. I just had a question for the town manager. What's going on with the PD as far as legalities with this whole air conditioning system? Because this is ridiculous, and I know we all feel this way. We're going to go into a heat wave, a serious heat wave coming up. The humidity's not under control. We're using propane. We're running the furnaces to try to battle that. So now we're gonna eat through thousands and thousands of gallons of propane, which is a high cost to the town.
Right.
Where are we legally with this, and have we done anything with their bond? Can we go after their bond to try to recoup some money? It seems like we keep getting answers like, they're working on it, they're trying to do this, they're trying to do that. What the heck is going on?
So I understand the frustration, I share it. You know, we did have a meeting, and I don't want to get too deep into legal aspects of it, because I just don't want to disclose it, because, you know, there is always the chance and possibility that litigation results in what's been happening. You know, we've gone through the process. We've been advised by Jeff D'Onofrio, who is the attorney assigned to PPBC, and we have gone through all the steps to make sure that the company responsible has been given the latitude they ought to have to take corrective steps. I think that I'm probably not exceeding myself by saying that I think we're at the end of that process, and that certain action is imminent. We're happy that, you know, that aspect of the HVAC temperature control has been corrected, but it's that humidity issue that obviously is the knot that they're suffering with out there.
They were at 69% humidity today.
Yeah, I'm aware of it. We're all aware that it's ongoing, and that, you know, certainly with humid days, you can certainly expect that to permeate the building, and we're aware that that's going to be probably ugly next week, as you mentioned. So we are on top of it. The PPBC is on top of it. We are pursuing every legal option that we have relative to it. It's nothing we take lightly. It's been an aggravation to everybody involved in it. I mean, here we are. We opened the department a year ago. You know, I really thought our meetings would be done foolishly about 8 months ago. So
Are we keeping track of the excessive propane usage and stuff? Just
we're trying to the best that we can. You know, it's kind of a hard thing to gauge, like, what's being used for, specifically because of that, and for, you know, for the other parts. But yeah, we're trying to run, you know, like, an idea about what kind of excessive cost that's causing us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure.
Excuse me.
Okay. Citizen statements. Please come up and state your name and address, please.
Good evening. My name is Dean Baker. I live at 167 Branford Road, Unit D5, property owned by North Branford Housing Authority. Just recently, I found out that there was a committee there, and not just a management company, running the place. Unfortunately, the committee member, the only one they had, is named Mark Little, I think, is no longer going to be part of the committee. So they voted the other day on from what I understand, it's a 5-person committee, 4 people, but chosen by you guys, I guess, and then one that is a resident. The one that was voted for by resident the other day, she was somehow acting resident before, for who knows how long, I don't know. All of these residents, me included, just found out that there was a committee above Merit Properties. And I think Merit Properties would have liked to keep it that way. But I reached out to Mark, and he told me when the meeting was, and they voted for, like I said, the same woman that was there before. I just don't think, she leaked information about a meeting I had with CHRO. She was privileged to that information. And I just don't think she should be voted back in. I talked to Rory a little bit, and he suggested I come here and say what I said. So, anything for me, or?
Well, I'm going to defer to the town attorney because there is a housing authority for that development, and it's, that committee has been in place for many, many years. It just didn't form. It's been there for a long time. So I'm just going to defer to the town attorney to address this for us.
Yeah, we heard what the resident has to say, and that, you know, there could be an open case. It's the housing authority issue. I would recommend that we don't make any comments at this time.
Okay.
I'd just like to say,
You can say all your, go ahead.
I went to the meeting that was supposed to be the committee members there. Like I said, there was supposed to be 4. There was nobody there. Just, there was nobody there for the town of North Branford at all. I realize it's probably a thankless job, but there was nobody there. It was just the manager, owner, Cheryl Darwin, who briefly broke out and said the town of North Branford really has nothing to do with this place. They own it, but other than that, we collect rent and we run the place with that. And there's just no one else to talk to other than, there's no one to talk to over there. Is it a city controlled? I thought, you know, but, or town controlled?
Yeah, the housing authority is appointed by the town council. The housing authority oversees Merit Property in its capacity as the contractor that the town has taken on to administer the.
Like I said, there was nobody, the meeting that is supposed to be between, supposed to be a council meeting, it was held. Mark emailed me the dates that they happen. Every other month, the second Tuesday, I believe. And
was it the regular housing authority?
Merit Properties did not want to get, I asked them for the information of when these meetings are. Her response to me was, I posted on the bulletin board, if someone takes it down, that's not my problem. So through Rory, I was able to contact, the only one that, of the board members that had contact information was this Mark, I think it was Little. But it's been brought to my attention, at that meeting, they did say, the owners of Merit did say that Mark is no longer on the committee or chairman, that he got a job with the town.
Well, no, he just resigned. He doesn't have.
Well, that's just what I heard.
It's on our agenda next, so that will be something we're gonna look at. We just have to.
Mike, do they run that for us under a contract?
Yeah.
And I'd like to, supposedly, they've had it since the mid-'80s. I did some research on it. It's a minority-owned company, took it over, and there's two women. I'm not their favorite person. I got a notice to quit on me now. I'm waiting for an eviction, and it's not the first one. I've been there a year and a half. But people that have been there 10 years got this letter this past week that there was going to be a vote for a tenant commissioner. And I talked to people that have been there 10 years and never got one of those before. So I started something. They don't like me. I don't really care. They've been trying to kick me out for, been there a year and a half. I got this service dog 4th of July weekend last year, and that's when it all started. He barks too much, he's vicious, he's not a service dog, you can't train a dog yourself to be a service dog. So, I just want to make sure that there's some kind of oversight. I don't need it, I have attorneys, but it'd be nice in the future that residents, people that are scared, they're old people, they get a threat, and, you know, they're not scaring me, but they scare a lot of people there, you know.
Okay. I mean, there is the Housing Authority, so we just have to look at the members on the Housing Authority and just, because we don't have any,
How could
we don't
I
have any
stay
control over their
informed of
meetings.
What's going on is, how could I find, this girl that's been appointed, can we stop her from being appointed? I guess it has to come through you guys, right?
She's already appointed, yes.
Not till the end of the month, I was told.
No, she was appointed at the beginning of the year.
Who's that?
There's one tenant that is on.
Right, but she just came up for vote at the end of June, her term ends. That's what we just voted on the other day.
Well, you wouldn't vote on that. We would vote on that, her appointment. The housing, the
believe
tenants
on that.
would not appoint her.
Tenants, well,
But I believe that they have a confirmation process.
They might, yeah, that might be
I
part
can
of
show you
the
where they
rules.
sent out ballots and everything, they voted, that's what they did.
Right.
I guess at the end of the month, it comes before a
And
board to see.
I'm not surprised to hear that, in 10 years you haven't heard that, because I don't think there has been
I
a
started
tenant,
the-
there hasn't been a tenant commission appointed.
I think we should just wait to
appointment
see what the
over 10
attorney
years.
has to look into it and see what they come back to us on.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
can't have,
It's a Housing Authority issue, but we could circle back. I wouldn't
when you
recommend-
say housing.
Okay,
I wouldn't recommend
any
comment
action.
from us.
Yep.
Gotcha, I gotcha. That's spoken like a lawyer.
That's why we got him there.
All I can say is, how do you, I mean, there should be somebody else that oversees, you say housing authority, what's the housing authority?
That's,
That
that's,
commission, right?
that's the
The
board.
non-existent commission.
Well, they're not non-existent. There are people on it.
How many?
I think there's 5, with one of them being a resident.
Those that, I'm telling you, they're not, it doesn't exist.
So,
We'll look into it.
Mark just resigned,
Yes.
and the others, I was there. They were supposed to be there. No-
Well,
Cheryl, the owner of the business, started talking about how they were gonna do things around the property. The rear cameras were working, we're gonna do tree trimming.
yep, so, yeah, we'll check into the members that are appointed, that we appoint to the commission, just to find out what the status is.
How do I
And
find
we'll-
out about that? How the process, I mean,
We will work, because we have to follow protocol, we'll work through our town attorney. Town attorney will get us a list and get a response back, and we can leave that in the town manager's office. And then you can reach out to the town manager's office, and his secretary would be able to help you
perfect.
with that information. Or send an email too.
Or Rory, if you.
Or Rory, yeah,
yeah.
Rory's a huge benefit. He's the
Right.
one that guided me from the beginning.
All right, good, yeah, so Tad would be the same office.
I mean,
I
I'm not in
don't
good
know if they
standing
have a
with
clerk.
Manor Properties, so
I can-
I can't,
But
supposedly I can't talk to them anymore.
If,
But,
If it's a public, it's be
I
a
don't know about
public
that,
meeting
but-
of some
They're
sort.
right.
You could certainly call, we'll go through the town attorney, and from the town attorney, we'll go through Mike and Rory's office, reach out to Rory, and they'll get you that information.
because what I've been told is by the end of June, this woman who was temporarily signed up, I don't even know how she got temporarily signed up to be the resident, but her term ends in June, and that's what we just voted on the other day. They let me vote. And then-
Candidly, we'll have to look into, we don't know, so we
Gotcha.
don't want to say anything that's. gonna
Gotcha, I
put us
just
in a
want to make
position.
sure that,
But we appreciate bringing it to our attention, absolutely, and we thank you for it.
you know, I'll be back to listen to some more.
Please.
You look familiar.
That kind of phase.
Ever lived in
Yeah.
East Haven?
Lived in town 10 years, so
Where you,
I don't live far from that property, so I'm kind
No?
of from the neighborhood now.
police department?
I am a police officer, not in North Branford, though.
No?
okay, we're gonna move on.
All right, I
Are
just
there
have that
any-
face.
And we'll get you the info.
You don't know me, right? Don't recognize the name? Man, we're cool then.
Yeah.
Everyone you're after?
Are there any other
Thank you.
citizen statements at this time?
Yeah, I'd like to make one. Oh, I'm sorry. Lisa.
Cliff is coming.
I want you to get on that
I'll go stand in line.
Stand in line.
I want your address.
Hey, what your address?
Cliff Potter, Northford, Connecticut. I want to either apologize or inform you, I was quite upset with the citizens of the town and the abuse you all took. I've seen a lot of bad town councils. There were so many things that were tabled, nothing moved forward. You guys, I'm very happy with the progress you made. You did nothing wrong. The state stuck it to us all. And the miscommunications and the misinformation that was flying around set me off. So I might have offended some people on Facebook. If I did, I apologize. But I felt that these people just, where are they? They're so upset. All these empty chairs. But they want something, but they don't come ask. So if they don't, yeah, they're Facebook warriors. I mean, if the internet's down, best thing that could ever happen. So again, I apologize if I offended anybody. I'm going to get off this soapbox and get on the other one. Job descriptions and what's required of all commissions and boards, whatever you want to call it. I think there was some confusion about what you were responsible for and some things you weren't responsible for. In the heat of the moment, some people had to be advised what they were responsible for. I get that. But again, it goes back to when the crap hits the fan is not the time to be trained. When things slow down, and in this town they're never going to slow down, somehow everybody on the commissions just have to know what their job description is and how to pursue it and how to get things done and what you are responsible for and what you're not responsible for. We can't ask you to do something that's not in your job description, but we can ask you to do something that's in your job description and you didn't do. That's a dereliction of services. And that's not fair to the citizens. So again, I applaud you, and I want you to know your job description, and not just you, all the other commissions. And the fact that there's so much animosity, planning and zoning, inland wetlands, it's impossible almost to get anything to pass through. I mean, we should be greeting people with open arms. And you talk, I mean, the contractor building the houses next to me, he said it's a well-known fact. It's very hard to build in North Branford. We're not builder, we're not real estate friendly. We got to get rid of that cloud. We got to really, you can't ask the EDC to close open wounds that two commissions that already met have opened. And some of the stuff that gets through here is unbelievable, and some of the stuff that gets stopped is not acceptable. So I don't know if you got a former, and you don't want another committee, because you guys have enough time on your hands doing what you do. But I mean, it's like one commission doesn't know what the other commission's doing. Tommy sits through the planning and zoning, he sees it, right, Tommy? You just, I mean, and then the inland wetlands never knew what happened to the planning and zoning. Well, when he's awake, he sees it. They go long. But again, then inland wetlands never knew that planning and zoning talked about that. So there is no continuity, and it's hurting the town because we are who we are. We're not sewered, highwayed, rail siding. You know, we don't have what the other big tax base towns have. But we'll make it, we'll get along. But thank you again. Hope I didn't offend anybody. Yes.
I was going to just say congratulations to your granddaughter, I believe.
Oh, my, well, yeah.
North
I had
Branford girls
trouble.
softball Class S state champs.
Best grandfather gift I could ever got.
Yeah, huh? North Branford, great job.
I mean, getting up at 5:30 on Father's Day, a little rough, going all the way out
That's
to Utah.
worth it, though. Winning the state championship?
Oh, you know what? Those girls were, and I'm going to brag now, so.
Please, brag.
I'm going to go over the limit. Nick DeLizio is an amazing manager.
Yes, I've heard.
And the girls, I mean, our outfield, you couldn't get a ball out of that outfield. As
They
soon
did a
as
great
that
job.
ball would lead the bat, and they were covering it. And that other team, they blew their competition away. And so, yeah, it's finally Nick's turn.
It's a great job.
And it'll happen again, because that's the kind of town we are.
There it is.
And the town support was amazing. So, you know, when you have your fire department send off, and the police department send off, that's North Branford. You won't find that in the Haven, but that's North Branford. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey Cliff, stay off Facebook.
Well, I hate to tell you, I've got double internet. I've got both Comcast and fiber, so it ain't gonna happen.
All right, you know, can we have your passcode?
I just wanted to add, because we've been having so many positive things going on, I think I'd just like to recognize Todd Steffler, who's retiring as the high school principal, who really served this town very well. And I
25
think I
years.
wish him well, and I think it's he did a lot for this town, and I appreciate
Yeah, I'd
what
like
he
to
did.
second that. He's a fantastic person, he's a great principal, from what things I've heard about him. Congrats to him on his next journey.
Okay, thank you. All right, next item is resignations and appointments. And we have the resignation of Mark Lilly from the Housing Authority. This is just,
That's committee.
there's nothing we have to do in regards to it, it's just recognizing. I'd like to thank Mark for all the years that he has served on the Housing Authority, and it is a position that we will have to fill. Going on to item 12, unfinished business, discussion and action. First item is the proposed North Branford High School Athletic Storage Building. So in April, in our packet, there was the budget that was done by QA&M that the high school had asked Rusty to do. It is in our packet for tonight. I happen to be, so the budget starts on page 89 in our packet. I happened to be at the permanent project building meeting 2 weeks ago where they were discussing the high school and where we were on contingency. Because one of the reasons this has not moved, we were waiting for the budget since last July, so we now have that. But the other thing is, originally, the Board of Ed was paying for this building with funding and also with donations, which the donations show in this budget. So it has the cost of the building less all the donations, so the net cost of the building. After our budget deliberations on April 22nd, the superintendent of schools withdrew the funding from the Board of Education for this building. And at the May meeting, Board of Ed meeting, the Board of Ed voted to put this project to the town council. So now we have it, the project. There is no funding from the Board of Ed, so the only way that this project would get funded is we can do it out of the contingency of the high school project, or we fund it as a CIP project, which has not been presented to us as a CIP project from the Board of Education. The Permanent Project Building Committee did discuss it at the meeting that I was at. There is in our folder, there is a overview from the building committee as to where they stand in funding. So this is as of yesterday, I guess is the date on this, but this was the same one that was given out 2 weeks ago. So there's a contingency balance right now of approximately 1.2 million. If you look on the back of this sheet that's in our packet, there are a number of things that the building committee has already committed money for from this contingency. So the paving that is starting next week, there's new fencing. The fencing has to be fixed, and there's fencing that's going in. They're redoing the front entrance from Route 80 by NBIS and the tennis courts. That is in here. They do have $100,000 for storage. That's the storage facility, this athletic storage building. The other things that will be coming over to them that's not shown here, which is part of the audit that we are waiting to finish, is the gym equipment that was paid for out of the Board of Ed's budget. The auditor is not allowing that through the Board of Education's funding, so those invoices will be going to permanent project, so that's about $122,000.
So that wasn't, because I was at that meeting also. I thought they included that with the 775.
Well, the total that's shown here is 632, and it just says,
Yeah, a couple
here, there's a
other-
couple other small jobs, so they're estimating 775.
Right, so that's-
So
okay.
that 122 is probably part of that. And it might also be, there was, at that meeting, they also discussed as part of the paving that they had already approved, there's an additional spot that Franny would like to pave, which is it's behind the bleachers, between the bleachers and that soccer field. Is that a soccer field?
Yeah.
He wants to pave the area where the trucks, like, all of his equipment goes, because all he's doing is fixing the grass all the time. And so he had gotten quotes. It makes sense to have that as a paved area there, so that when their vehicles and equipment is going to the football field or other fields, they're not constantly redoing that area. So
Also-
that was about $28,000.
Just also, they were moving, to put that paving in, they were moving the fencing over, so they were sliding the field.
They're moving the fence a little,
They're
they're moving the field.
They're replacing they have to replace the fence. So what, the fencing replacement is in this.
Yes,
So what they were gonna do to pave that road was move 10 feet, move the field 10 feet, so move the fencing 10 feet, to move the field,
right.
to put the paving in. It works.
So according to what the contingency and the projects they have listed, the budget that Rusty has submitted shows a cost of approximately $88,000 for the building. That is assuming that all of the vendors who committed time, material, services to the project, that those move with the project. The superintendent did tell the board in May, at their May meeting, that it does move with the project. I don't know if they contacted all of them to see if they are or not, or if he's just assuming, I'm not sure. I guess that's something that
They say like 95% of them were going over. There were still a few of them that haven't committed. That's what I got out of it.
But I'm not sure. I'm not sure on that. They didn't say. I'm just going by what the superintendent told the Board of Ed when I was at that meeting, to go over there. Because Rusty was at that meeting, I did ask Rusty if this would qualify for state reimbursement, and he said it was not part of the original project.
Had to be part of the original spec in order.
It wasn't part of that, so it would not, as it stands right now, be part of it. The building committee, that was not a concern for them, because if they did try to get it so that it was reimbursed, the cost of the project would probably go up significantly, because then you have to do prevailing wage rate. There's a lot of things that go with it. So they're more inclined to just let it go in contingency and let the project, manage the project through and pay for it through contingency.
When this project first started, when Scott presented it to us, when it initially came in, they said that they had already raised all of the money. The town didn't have to worry about it. It was all set. They had all the money. It was all taken care of. Didn't need us whatsoever. So they already had raised the money. So where is the money that they raised?
He
And
said,
it wasn't just in donations in time. They said they had all of the money.
I believe when he came before us that he said he would private fundraise. He did not have all of the money for the project. He wanted to move the project forward and said that he was going to private fundraise for it. And then a few months later, he came back and said that he had savings in his account and he was going to pay for it out of the savings.
But a lot of it is donated, though. A
Well,
lot
that's
of
what
the
it was
building,
said.
no, a lot of it is donated, and I was at the meeting and Rose was there. Like I said, 95% of the people who are going to donate their time and their materials and the labor are on board. There's still a few of them that haven't been, and that's what I
I'm not
get.
arguing that's being said, though. What I'm saying is when it was presented to us,
Correct.
it
Yeah,
was
I think he
all
was-
set.
yeah.
I remember hearing the same thing.
Right? It was all set. Money was all set. We didn't have to worry about it. And then now
Right.
we got it.
Yes, they sent it
And
back
I'm
to.
not saying that this is a bad idea.
At the high school, so.
But, no, I just, it
It's
seems
not,
kind of like we were deceived.
it's not the path that I would have liked to seen.
Honestly, I think-
How this went, how it
If he
transpired.
asked us a year and a half ago to do this way, I think we probably would have been able to not go, drag it out. Because I think we would probably automatically had put it to the building permit projects at that time, right? The way he went around it, the way he went about it was the wrong way, honestly.
So the reason that it's coming up tonight is because paving is starting next week at the high school, and Public Works is, if you looked at the quote, Public Works is on this quote for donating services to do the footings for the building. And I know I did see equipment down there, so.
We're there digging out the athletic roadway we were just talking about, so.
Yeah, so the equipment is there, and Franny just needs to know if we're gonna move this forward to permanent, like, we have to take a vote on this tonight to move this along and let Permanent Project take this. Franny would like to do the work there that he has to do while his equipment is there, doing the other part of it.
But like I just said, there is, Public Works is donating.
Yeah,
So it's the Public Works is donating their time and money, not the town's time and money to do that? They're donating their time and money?
Well, no, it's a town of North Branford donation.
You know, I'm just.
Yes,
Hey,
it's,
Walt,
it-
when
but
you look
it's,
on the sheet here, it says what's donated, everything's to the right here. It says
Yeah, but-
donation, 5,000 donation from Palumbo, 5,000 donation from Elrose. Am I reading this wrong?
right,
Town-
so on here it says site earthwork, it's the town DPW, and so it's valued at $25,000, so it's the town Department of Public Works, so basically it is the town of North Branford, so it's, it's not just Public Works. And Public Works guys are not donating their time. What it says is the town
Yes,
is
we're
paying them, and that's our contribution along with other things to this building.
I think Dave Palumbo put it out. He's trying to get Tilcon to donate the concrete, which is a huge portion of this. I know that was one of the donations.
I'm all for that. I'm all for everybody donating. I'm not saying that I'm not for that.
No,
I'm
it's
glad
the-
everybody's doing it. What I'm going back to
Is
was
the
that
original.
when we were initially presented the first day,
Yes.
we were told this
Yes.
was all set.
We
We
were told
have
one thing
all of
and
the
now-
money. We don't need it from the town. That's what we were told. We don't need it. And now all of a sudden, we're talking about we need it.
And we're a year and a half later, and
Right,
here we are.
Exactly.
And-
That's what I'm not against the building. I think it's great we're doing it, but you know what I'm saying? When somebody says it's all set, but we're all just kind of, well, whatever, we'll roll the punches.
Well, like I said, he should have been a little bit more forthright with us.
We've been arguing about this and talking about it for so long. I think the important thing is that it's needed. And if there's a way we can do it and get it off our backs, I think we should. And if Public Works is gonna be right there now and now's the time, I think, let's do it and get it over with.
Well, needed.
Because it is something that's needed.
Well, there's a difference between a nicety and a necessity. This is a nicety, not a necessity, because for years we used containers and it worked.
Yeah, have you seen those containers?
You get a new one, $3,500. I mean, don't misunderstand me.
Bucks to buy them, or they?
Or they
rent?
Needed and must have. They're totally different things. And who chooses whether the town donates money like that? Who chooses that? I'm just asking the question because I'm sure the public, anyone watching is gonna wanna know who chooses that.
You do.
Right.
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 Did we choose it?
Well,
It never came before us.
That's kind of where everything's such a loose end here, and then and then at the end of all this mishap, it ends up on our lap. You know, and it just seems not fair.
I would say let's stop beating the dead horse and just let's.
Say no.
I'm sorry, I'm not gonna say no, I'm just saying we're beating a dead horse. Let's just get it off our plate, as Marie put it, and get it out of our sight.
Well, so, you know, we don't have to agree to the estimate of $25,000 as a donation towards it. It's just, we would be taking the funds from the high school, you know, it wouldn't be free from Public Works. I mean, Public Works wouldn't be donating the services. The town wouldn't be donating because we would get paid through the contingency. So it's still getting paid through our money. I mean, that's how it works out. I mean, that's what would happen with it. So we don't necessarily have to say yes to the 25. It's just instead of the project being 88,000, you add 25,000 onto that. And it comes out of contingency.
Yeah.
Is what would happen with it. But if someone would like to make a motion to approve the North Branford High School Athletic Storage Building and move it to permanent project building committee, because they would oversee the project.
I will make that motion.
I will second it.
Motion was made by Counselor Diamond, seconded by Counselor Abelson. Any further discussion?
Yeah, what's the
so-
motion?
Can we make it contingent on all the donations, all the donations are verifiable and actually come through?
They are verifiable.
My question
There's the
was gonna be,
one
when
which
it
is
goes to the
still-
next step, is that what happens? They review everything, then they come back and say, this is what's gonna be donated, what's gonna be a cost, and then they come back to us again, or is that?
No,
that's the
no.
end?
That's
I think
already
you-
in there.
I know,
This
that's
is permanent-
why I'm
it's
asking
that
the question.
Then we should do a not to exceed.
I believe what you're saying is.
They go
A letter of
to-
intent, you mean?
Or we could do, or an easier way might be just not to exceed. So,
Not to exceed.
yeah, I mean, it's, what is it, 88,600 something? So just call it 80, not to exceed 89,000.
Is that including the 25?
That includes.
That's, the 25 is
If
deducted off
those
of
guys are
that.
comfortable with it, if they want to take the 25 out from the town,
Well, you'd have to add it back into the cost.
well, that's what I'm saying, so I just don't know where they are with it.
Right. So the project cost as estimated here is approximately 89,000 on there. Now, there are things that have to go out to bid, so that could have an effect on this, because they're basing it off of pricing that they got last year.
It's a year ago.
No,
Yeah, it was the first time.
I thought John Florio had already went out, the materials went out to bid.
No, it didn't go out to bid. There were 3 purchase orders issued by the Board of Education last June to encumber the money. It was for lumber, garage doors, and the concrete. So that is the cost that's in this project, but those POs are a year old.
The garage doors, I think, don't have to go out to bid because I think it was less than $10,000.
Well, it was less than 10,000, but it's 5 garage doors, and permanent project is going to have those are not commercial garage doors, and they're not insulated. So that's why we're sending this project to permanent project, so they can look at these things.
Let's just do it.
Okay, yeah.
Let's just vote on it and
I
get
see
it
what
out,
you're-
just get it off our plate and give it to permanent projects already. All right, I'm done with this.
But, I mean, those are all issues that they're going to have to deal with.
Let them deal with it, honestly, just let them deal with it.
But-
Get it off our plate.
Yeah, but by putting it over there, we're approving the project. So I think
Yes,
that's, we
we're
have
approving
to
the
be
project,
judicious in
but
understanding
do
that.
we have the trust in them to sit there and do the right thing?
Well, you're gonna have a problem limiting it to $89,000, because what happens if they say, these are not the right garage doors?
Then they have to figure it out.
That's exactly my point, though.
Right.
Then they
Because
have
this
to
whole,
figure
this
it
whole
out.
project has been so iffy and up and down, and we don't know if the numbers are real and everything else like that. So what I'd like to do as a council is say not to exceed 89,000, and then if it does exceed it, because it potentially could exceed it by a lot, then it has to come back before us, and then we have to make another decision at that point.
I agree with that.
I'm on
That's-
board with that. I agree with that.
I want to see
just
this be
wanna get
done,
it
but it has to
off
be done the right way.
I don't trust these numbers, that's my biggest problem, I don't trust them.
Please do. It's a year and a half.
I think it makes sense to get this into process by, as Ron stipulated, by having it not to exceed, and then they have to come back to us if it's going to exceed, and we can further adjudicate if it's
absolutely.
probable to do or possible to do.
That's not,
Okay.
What's the matter, Mike?
So do you
No,
amend your
I-
motion?
I amend my motion,
Okay,
not to exceed 89,000.
Second.
okay. Okay. All right. Any further discussion?
How's that?
Okay. All in favor?
Roll call.
Aye.
Roll call.
You want a roll call vote? Okay. Roll call, please?
Mayor Angeloni.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor McMillan.
Yes.
Counselor Abelson.
Yes.
Counselor Diamond.
Yes.
Counselor Goad.
No.
Counselor Miller.
Yes.
Counselor Palladino.
Yes.
Counselor Palacio.
Yes.
Counselor Zampano.
No.
Okay. Motion carries 7-2. So if you can just let Permanent Project know on this, there is a cap as far as the cost.
Will do. Thank you.
So that the next item is approval of the bid specs, and this is for the athletic storage building. But I don't think that we should do this, that this should go to Permanent Project, these bid specs, because I have no idea if all of the items that they need, I can't tell by the bid specs if all of the items on the bid specs is what they need. So I think Permanent Project should,
Yeah, absolutely. We're not, we are a
project for
financial board. Let's let them look at this and tell us, I'm not gonna look at bid specs. I don't know what the building needs. That's their job. That's why we put them in place.
yeah, I mean, I
They come back to us and we get funding approval. That's what our job is here, is to approve funding and the money that's, we are the fiduciaries for the town. We not make all the decisions. Those type of decisions are specific board made. That's why those professionals have been put in those positions.
so they
Subject
can.
matter experts.
Yeah, they can decide on the bid specs and send it out to bid.
Correct.
Anything over $10,000 has to go out to bid,
Correct.
and they know that, so it'll be up to
Does
them.
that need to be in motion?
No, because we're not approving the bid
Okay.
specs.
All right.
So they can just advance, start on the project and do.
Yeah, you could just transmit the specs with the authorization for them to review it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. All right, on to new business, discussion and action. Item A is approval of draft RFQ specifications for RFQ 926019, developer for 1599 Foxton Road. We're just going to pass on this right now because this is an executive session discussion. And if, I don't think we're going to come back and approve anything after our executive session. So it'll just move to the next month then on there. Next item is item B, approval of American Red Cross Shelter Agreement.
Yes, Madam Mayor, this is really just a reiteration of our standing American Red Cross Shelter Agreement for the use of the North Branford Intermediate School. Really, the reason that it is before you tonight is the contacts on both the town side and on the Red Cross side have changed, so it requires a new agreement. And I just wanted to get in front of you because I think it's good for the council to see it every time that happens instead of just not know what's in the agreement. It's really for your awareness.
Require a motion?
Yes.
Yeah, there's one in
It's
here.
on page 140.
140?
I got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Make a motion that the North Branford Town Council authorizes Town Manager Michael P. Downs to execute a facility use agreement with the American Red Cross for use of North Branford Intermediate School as a shelter in the event of a disaster or emergency.
Second.
Motion was made by Councilor Palladino, seconded by Deputy Mayor McMillan. Any discussion?
Would a shelter like that who would that be for? Just our town or surrounding towns? Like, how does that work?
Regional. It could be both. You know, it depends on what kind of emergency it is. If it's a regional emergency, they could use that as a staging ground, whether it's either storage of things that they need to serve a population or staffing it for, you know, people that need shelter.
Good thing.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Next item is LoSiP application for Sea Hill Road.
So again, this is very similar to the Twin Lakes project that we have. The SCROG has been very helpful and funded putting together the application, which included some borings out along Sea Hill Road. It's in a tough shape, so this is a way to utilize some of the state funding through the same program, LOTSIP. It would be, the current budget is about $4 million. It'd be a great way to augment our road projects throughout the town. So just looking for authorization to submit that application to the DOT for their review.
Would we have, if this was granted to us, is there a matching part?
So this is, the construction is 100%, but like Twin Lakes, we would have to pay for the engineering to get to the final design work. And that was somewhere in the neighborhood of $150,000, $200,000.
So 3.978 mil?
Yeah, that's what we would get.
That's 100%, okay.
That's 100%. We don't have construction matching fees.
Okay,
We
good.
would just, like Twin Lakes, we had to pay hire the engineer to design the road project. That's what we would have to do again. That would be our expense. And for Twin Lakes, it was about $160,000.
I think that's a fair trade.
And what is the timeline?
So it takes probably several months for the DOT to review it. So this would probably be 27 construction. So 26 would be construction for Twin Lakes. If all goes well with the design and going through that process and getting approval. So then Sea Hill would be in the next following construction year. So not next year, but the year after.
What would be done on what are they doing to Sea Hill?
So it's a process called peel and pave for part of it, in which they take off the pavement. There's a lot of drainage work that'll be done as well, drainage improvements. We did have some problems up at Pomps Lane, where the drainage all comes down Sea Hill and then goes up Pomps Lane and goes through some of the backyards. So we're going to reroute that to make sure that it stays on Sea Hill and doesn't impact the properties in that area. We're going to square up the intersection on Pomps Lane, so there's not two ways to get into it. We'll get rid of the island, make that a much safer intersection. And then also, so like I said, peel off the pavement. If we need to do any touch-up with the sub-base, the process that goes underneath the road, we would do that, and then repave it and curb and drainage work.
The whole length?
From Route 80 all the way to Pomps Lane.
Thank you.
So the suggested motion, is it fair that I just say stipulated as in, or I'll make the motion as stipulated in our copy?
It's on page 146.
On page 146 of our meeting agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion was made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Councilor Abelson. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next item is approval of S2 Verify Service Agreement for background checks.
Good evening. When I came on board, I kind of inherited a vendor who was performing our background checks. But over the course of the last budget process, I solicited some quotes to try to see if we could save some money and received 4 quotes. This was the cheapest that met all of our needs. And in order to start the service with them, we need to authorize this service agreement.
I'll make a motion that the town council of North Branford authorizes town manager to execute a service agreement with S2 Verify pending any changes recommended by the town attorney.
Second.
Motion was made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Councilor Diamond. Any discussion?
This wasn't something that needed to go out to bid?
All in, the budget is, less than $5,000 for the year.
What's it for, employment background?
Yeah, pre-employment.
Was there a significant savings?
I mean, it was probably in the neighborhood of $1,000, probably a little less.
Okay. Just want to put it out there that we are trying to do our best to
Mhm.
save the town money.
Now, is this
Thank
just
you.
for town hall employees, or who does this cover?
The police department conducts its own background checks. The Board of Ed conducts its own, so this is just town hall, rec, library.
Does this include motor vehicle?
When we are hiring either like a driver for rec who may or may not have a CDL, and any public works employee who will have a CDL, I get the driving records.
Okay.
It has it broken down here for driver. It has it in there,
Yeah.
so.
I kind of do an à la carte depending on the position.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries.
Thanks, Rory.
Okay. So the next item is suspense for 2021 grand list, 15 years purge, 2008 general ledger, and credit over 3 years old. This is part of executive session, I believe, or is this separate?
No, this is separate.
Oh, this is separate. Okay, go ahead.
So every year we do a suspense list, and we put it into suspense, but you can still collect it. So it comes off the list. So I think those are in your packets. So there's real, motor vehicle and personal property. And they're all 2021 grand lists.
All right, I'll make a motion, be hereby resolved, the North Branford Town Council meeting adopts the suspense list, 15-year purge, credits over 3 years, and writes off of $5 or under.
Second.
Motion was made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Councilor Diamond. Discussion?
It's just, could
That's
you,
only the suspense list. The
Yeah.
suspense list is not.
The other part's executive.
could you just explain what we're agreeing to?
The suspense is actually, the suspense list, every year you take it out, so it can be collected, but it's taken off the tax roll. So, but you can still collect it.
It's uncollected taxes.
Okay.
So this is 15
No, it's
years
just,
old?
I got, I
I see
understand.
puzzled faces.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
everything that's 15 years old, you're saying?
Any, no, that's grand list 21. Then there's another list for the 15-year purge, which anything over 15 years or more has to be wiped off the system and not collected by law.
It makes our books cleaner, because,
So if I don't pay my taxes, I wait 15 years? and then-
You got 15 years, you move out of state, you
Let's not
come
make that
back,
happen
10 years
again.
later, you gotta pay it. But if you come back 20 years later, it'll be wiped off, so. And the other one is anything 3 years,
Good to
which
know.
we did last year, which was 3 years of credits. Anything past 3 years of credits sitting out there is on, we cannot refund it. By law, we cannot refund it back, even if they request it. So it goes back into the general fund. So last year, I know we put a lot back in, this year it's about almost 18,000.
How much?
Almost $18,000, so it'll go back into the general
Thank you for explaining that. Appreciate it.
fund. And the last one is the $5 or under, to wipe it off the system, to write it off. I mean, we're not either, we don't collect anything like that. Some things could be pennies, some things could be dollars.
It's free, yeah. And rather having that, we want clean data. It takes, man, to clean the data.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
basic
That's
accounting.
what all these are.
Yeah, right, 2 cents.
So, I don't understand. He's on there.
There's,
She goes, can she give you 2 pennies right now? How well, I'm gonna make a motion for that.
I think the credits in out there.
Will you give her 2 pennies then?
Jeff, did your motion cover all 4 of those reports?
Yeah, I read it as
Yes,
stipulated.
Can I, I have a question. So I'm just reading,
What list, yeah, report.
I'm on the first page.
Okay.
So it says, motor vehicle. I'm just gonna pick the second one on the list. I'm sorry, the first one on the list, it says, town is due and suspense of $105.50.
Correct.
So is the person suspended from paying it? Do they still owe it?
Oh, yeah.
Are they not allowed to register their vehicle?
It's still collectible, it's written off the books. We can still collect it, it actually would be with the collection agent.
So all of these people are with the collection agency? So we're just,
It's just, we wipe it off of our system.
okay. So basically, this is the whole list that's gone to the collection agency, and it's up to them to collect.
Correct.
But if they had a motor vehicle that was registered in the town and they owe funds, they're not allowed to register their vehicle in the state of Connecticut.
No, they're not.
Okay.
Way sometimes could be around that. You're looking at, say that the second name there. Maybe they go back and they eliminate the J, second and the middle initial. So the I's and
Don't give them any
DMV, and the
reasons
I's-
to do it.
Or sometimes it's J instead of the full name.
Right.
So sometimes people skirt the system a little
Usually you
bit.
find
Yeah,
these
they
people
never
get
get
away
this money
with it
anyway.
somehow.
Oh, yeah,
Pennies.
we lease a vehicle
Pennies.
now and,
Right.
Well,
Find a way, anyway.
I'm sorry. I mean, oh, forget it. Okay. Okay, thank you, I appreciate it.
I see you're on the second page.
Yeah, I am. No, we had Mike Duty is on here. He doesn't,
No,
I'm just,
So if, like, I see names on here of people that I know, and I know they live in town, so why can't we, like, if I know and I know where they live, why can't we collect it?
Because a lot of times what'll happen is you would send it to 123 Main Street. They have a PO box. So it comes back as return mail. So unless you want them to go through 500 bills that come back as return mail and figure out, oh, he's got a PO box 123 now, it's easy, again, they're not writing it off, goes to the collection agent, they're out to get it. They have better skip tracing than we have. They can find out that he's got PO box 123 now, and they'll go after him. So these are all basically return mail, the volume of return mail that comes back when the motor vehicle bills go out.
they go off the social.
I mean, I see one on the third page that's
Yes, sir.
a well-known business in town. I know it's still there. I drive by it every day. They owe over 2,500. They shouldn't be too hard to find.
True.
Yeah, I see,
Like,
I saw
yeah,
that too.
Like,
Yeah.
what's being done to collect those
Collection
types?
agency. These are all in collection. We,
Yeah, a lot of
you know,
fun
at
stuff
some
out
point in time, like as you said, they go,
Wow.
they come back, you try
See
to
what
find
we're
them.
talking
You know, a lot of times people, they just don't pay.
Years ago.
Every year it comes out, it's the same thing.
did we give it to the attorney to go after?
That's real estate.
Oh, real estate taxes.
That's,
We're getting to that, that's later.
that's different.
Yeah, that's coming.
But you're sure there's gonna be a lot of people you see on there that you recognize the names, and again, the mail comes back, and, you know,
I didn't want to give it to you in April. so they're-
But if you know, like, if there's someone on here that's passed on or something like that, you know, obviously.
They would find that and update it, yeah.
Well, it's on,
Goes
I
to
know someone
collection and
specifically
we're
that's
unaware of it.
passed in here.
That'll eventually get cleared.
Just making conversation here, because, put this way, I would hope my name wouldn't be on here, but if my name was on here and you said, hey, Walter, you didn't pay your, I would be embarrassed and I'd pay it tomorrow. So is there a way that, legal way, that North Branford can embarrass these people?
I proposed that a couple of years ago and it didn't.
You know what I'm saying? Why,
Oh, yeah.
put it this way, these people shouldn't be able to get away with it the way we have. And when somebody owes $2,500 and owns a business in town that has trucks that drive by with their writing on the side of the thing,
It's more than that.
how they should feel it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It should be, hey, there they are.
Because
Yeah.
they're on every
There it
page.
is.
They're on every
Yeah,
page.
we pay our taxes, I pay my taxes all the time, and I would expect, if I didn't pay my taxes, I would expect you to come down on it. Because if I didn't expect that, I wouldn't pay my taxes. So in this case,
That's why the collection agency and every, like, quarter or so, they get a list from us, what's updated, what's so forth, and like, they just got one from us. And we give it to them, and they send out these letters, so a lot of people have been calling. And we tell them, you need to call the collection agency, you can pay them. You need to register, if you need to do something, then come back to us, and we'll release you with the department where they have the ones who are paid in full. So they can make payment plans with them, you know, the collection agency. Yeah.
thank you.
And if you know anybody on here, the clock is ticking with interest, so if you want to give them a friendly heads up.
Yeah.
18% per year, it's the best investment we ever had.
We're talking almost $100,000.
Yeah.
It adds up, it's a
Yeah.
lot.
That's why you want to get to collection, we get paid.
Yeah, our names aren't on here.
No,
We pay-
they're not.
We pay our taxes.
I'd be,
Everybody here
you're
pays
right,
their
I'd be
taxes.
embarrassed if I
I would,
tried.
yeah, I wouldn't be here if I did the taxes.
I'm not on there, am I?
No.
You are.
Okay.
Only like 6, 7 times.
Oh,
All right.
okay, so you made the motion. There's,
Was it seconded?
is on page 158,
Yeah, would you like me to read it again?
or 188, I'm sorry.
Be it resolved that the North Branford Town Council meeting adopts the suspense list, 15-year purge, credits over 3 years, and write-offs of $5 or under.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion was made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Councilor Abelson. Any other discussion?
Any thought of Walt's suggestion?
Oh,
Embarrassing people on the, on,
Is there a way legally that we're they, somehow we,
get out on Facebook.
Any town councilor, do you know that do that?
I'd have to check with Brian to be totally honest.
Can't you do it anonymously on Facebook?
No,
no.
no. Facebook is not. Can we turn his mic off?
yeah,
I said anonymously.
Yeah, again, turn your mic off.
well, on the community
Mr. Potter,
pages,
we might have
there's
a job for you.
anonymous members of stuff.
It just so happens that it could, you know, the report can anonymously show up.
No.
What if our website started
He
with
even
that
joked
list?
that, though.
I know.
Like literally have it on the website?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Right,
I just- To me,
I
it just
I can
doesn't
follow up
seem
with the
right.
town attorney on that to see what the, you know, what the left and right is on doing something like that.
Okay, motion is on the floor. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Motion carries.
Yeah, you're gonna go door knocking? Take the chief with you.
Next item is appropriation transfer fiscal year 24-25.
3 small transfers. You'll see the first one is covering some police overtime. The second one is social services, some costs for part-time and professional development of a seminar that she ran. And the final one, the police on the bottom there, as you recall, we've kind of reallocated the expenses, so it's coming out of the police budget and going to the DPW budget, but allocated towards the police, that 4201 in there.
Okay. Is there a suggestion in here?
Yeah.
Is it on page?
189.
189, okay, I'm too far ahead. Let me get that. All right,
The top.
be it resolved that North Branford Town Council hereby approves the following appropriation transfers as recommended by the town manager and the treasurer finance director. Meeting date, June 17th, 2025. And then stipulated in the accounts through the general fund that is stipulated in our account, in our in our copy.
Second.
Motion was made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Councilor Diamond. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained?
I abstain.
Motion carries. Next item is financial report, 5/31/25.
Financial report, portion remains unremarkable. I did put the PO through, so.
Thank you.
We're good. The typical ones that focus on tax collection, again, 100.8% this year, 99.6 last year, so we're doing better. Overall revenue, 98.8, 98.6 last year, so we're doing better there. On the expense side, it's the same. As the mayor knows, we've been working feverishly on getting 24 balanced and closed, so I haven't looked at 25 as far as transfers. You'll have a significant bunch on your July meeting. But as for this year, it's going to be another black year for us, which is always good.
So, since you brought up the audit,
This week, come back on Thursday.
Nice.
so this is 24 that will be done.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And then 25 will close on,
We're gonna
10 days
close
later. Well, the year closes.
The year will close, yeah. We'll be a lot more timely this year.
Well, will we meet the deadline of the state?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
What is that date?
December 31st.
So what happens when we don't? Because
We file
we're,
extensions. We did this year, we file extensions.
you just keep filing extensions?
There's up
There's-
to a
there's-
certain point.
I mean,
Yeah, the following June is when the line's in the sand.
There's just like
We're getting close to the
5,500.
line in the sand. That's why we gotta have it done by the end of this June.
so what happens if something goes wrong, because you're really close to the wire,
Yeah.
that you don't, what happens, what does the state do to you
Give you a penalty.
if you
I
miss?
don't know, I don't wanna find out, to tell you the truth, but I think
They give you a
they
penalty.
put you on the MARB list, maybe as people, tier 1 of the state coming and looking at your books and stuff, and it's just been, an absolute, 23, 24 was like the worst year of my 30-some-odd years here. Personnel changes, software changes, aggravation factor like you wouldn't believe. So I think we have the systems down. The munis wasn't set up properly when we converted over, so 23 didn't flow into 24 properly. 24 didn't flow into 25 properly. We've kind of got that process down now. So 25 is going to be our first really clean year of closing, and it should be 100% smoother.
Anthony, where are you with the training that the 10 hours or whatever else like that?
Training for
The munis,
The munis.
munis training?
yeah.
We have weekly meetings that we have a subcommittee here that we kind of tackle on. Again, the last probably 2 to 3 weeks, if not a month, have been really focused on closing 24 to avoid that penalty of not having an audit done by June 30th. So no additional training has happened.
They have
since
done
that
several sessions of it, though, so it's been used.
Like a lot or a little?
Yeah,
Just
we
trying to-
had one of the sessions we used, we bought that PACE, it's called, the additional training. We used one of those to close 24 books with munis. We used one of those to help Terry with payroll. We used one of those with some of the blocks for accounts payable, some of the blocks for purchasing. So we've used those additional training hours to kind of, as we come to milestones we have to tackle, we've used those training hours and kind of got the process resolved now. And again, that hopefully 25 going forward is going to be 100% better.
Those training sessions, too, have made a lot of progress, because we run, the weekly munis meetings that we do, we run a tally of our ongoing issues, and we code them as to the most urgent and the least urgent, and then we timeline them, so when we've addressed one, it goes down on the list, and we have, I would say, probably just in like the last 2 months, the most and largest significant of our kind of code red issues have been resolved. So, I mean, it is really letting us see daylight and
So
getting us
do you
through
think
this.
that you'll continue to have to use them moving forward, or are we
I
like
think in certain
totally up
respects,
to
they're
speed, or?
I
not
think
yet.
there'll always be a little hand-holding we need at certain things, but the majority of the policies and the procedures I think that we have in place now really will address a lot of the closing process and expedite that going forward.
And you're confident that on Thursday, the audit will be closed?
I am reasonably confident. Reasonably confident.
It's not unremarkable. He's reasonably confident.
Reasonably confident.
I mean, that is the top priority in the town hall right now, right?
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. I haven't done
Yes,
anything with
sir.
25 transfers, anything else. It's been nonstop, you know. Like I said, she was here all day last Thursday. She was here all day. Monday. She was here today. She's off tomorrow.
The
Our
auditor.
The auditor.
Michelle Lissa. She'll be back on Thursday, so that's where we're.
Did all this extra work on their part, is it costing the town anything, or is it fall under?
You know, she hasn't mentioned anything, to be honest with you. I would not be surprised. I mean, they've put a lot of hours above and beyond to do this, to get this back on track, but she has not mentioned anything in that regard at all.
Okay, so I know we hired someone temporarily to do bank recs.
Yep, he's up to May
May of
24.
24. Okay. So, I mean,
Yep.
is.
Again, it's the process. He's getting the process down. Once we get 24 done, he's gonna work with myself and Debbie to go over the process that he's using. Munis has a module for bank recs that we get some hand-holding on that regard. We've talked to them once already, but for 100 years it's been done on Excel sheets, and we're trying to automate that process and make it more timely. But again, it's nothing happens quickly, but we're working on it.
Okay. I mean, we're a whole year behind on bank recs, and so that makes it very difficult to
Yep.
balance a year out if you don't have your bank recs done. So.
But believe it or not, the differences between the general ledger and our numbers are very, very small.
But then how does this also translate into getting data into Munis, current budget, current budget, next year's budget, so department heads can follow?
Next year's budget was sent out to the departments today to review, and once they bless it, I will put it in probably tomorrow or the next day.
So everything will be up to date for them?
Okay?
And current year is,
Current year's been there all along. Budget's been there since day one. So they know where their budgets are currently, and current year is not a problem. It was putting next year's budget, and saying doing POs for next year as of July 1st. I kicked it out, 3 o'clock today where it was. Again, it's breaking up the budget. It's not only the numbers, it's now that new numbering scheme of taking money out of this budget, putting in that budget.
well, it's the whole maintenance thing that we did. I mean, that was
Maintenance.
gonna be for next budget year.
Correct,
so
the
that-
Mundo. And we had the new department, 4,100 for centralized costs. Things like electricity are gonna be living in that centralized department, so that had to come out of people's budgets, move up. So it was a little complex, but again, it was kicked out about 3 o'clock today for them to review one more time, and then if they have any questions or they wanna move additional things to that other department, once they bless it, uploading it takes literally 20 minutes.
Okay, all right. We will,
Keep our fingers crossed.
yep.
Say a few prayers.
So does that mean we'll be paperless next year?
Oh, no. Nothing's paperless.
Okay. All right, next item is amendment to the bond resolution for NBIS.
Yeah, there was, you recall the bond resolution that you guys passed a while back was $10 million for NBIS. Again, at the time that was passed, there was no really budget per se as to the different components of it. So at the end of the day now, there's some additional work, sidewalk repairs, siding, corresponding landscaping once they do the sidewalks. And the building committee is looking to bump up the appropriation. 10.6 is kind of a safe number. They're looking more like 10.4, 10.5. We went 10.6 just to have a cushion instead of having to go back and forth. There is money in that fund to the tune of over $1 million of bond premium was earned just on the NBIS financing pieces, the bonds and the notes and such. So there's cash in that fund to accomplish this without having to go back and borrow more money whether it's bands or bonds or anything else. There's cash on hand to do this.
So what happens to that excess cash?
The excess cash, whatever is left in that 3616 fund, like we do with any other fund, a couple of years out, we'll close the balance out, and we'll use that for a CIP. maybe
So you can
27,
transfer it
28.
to another CIP. So it's part of the CIP budget,
Yep.
and when you close the project out, that interest and
Whatever's
stuff.
left, money-wise,
That's, okay.
I'll go to you guys, say, hey, we got $100,000
Yeah, no, I
here.
know we've done that. I
Yeah.
just, it's never been presented as that there was money there from interest earned and
Well,
all of that stuff.
Yeah, whenever we close the funds out, there's either, it's a combination of interest that's earned, or underspent projects, or wherever there's money left in those various funds that we close out and move forward. That's just gonna, same thing would happen here at the 3616 fund. There's Stanley T. Williams roof is in this project as well, and now the corresponding items that go along with that project are living in 3616. So there's quite a few projects in there, in that 3616 fund, so I anticipate probably at least 2 years out before everything is kind of wrapped up, that we could, any remaining balance could be put into 28, 29, let's say, capital at that point.
Okay. All right, there is a resolution on page 195 of our packet. A motion?
Be hereby resolved, the North Branford Town Council adopts the attached amended bond resolution increasing the NBIS appropriation to $10,600,000. It's in its entirety.
Second.
Motion was made by Deputy Mayor McMillan, seconded by Councilor Diamond. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay. Next is citizen statements and petitions. I would just like to say one thing. There was an email out to the council earlier this week in regards to a meeting with the Board of Education on Thursday of this week at 4 o'clock here at Town Hall. We are going to notice the meeting so that if we do have a quorum, it's fine. We're going to notice the meeting. The purpose of the meeting is to try and have more of an open dialogue with the Board of Ed on issues. There's a few things that have come up that we need to address with them, talk with them. Part of the problem is when I go to the board meetings as their liaison, you can ask a question, but there's no dialogue that happens. They don't answer your questions at their meetings, so it's hard to have a dialogue in regards to anything that we have. So I asked the town manager to email Scott and get a date and time. This is the first meeting that we have. We'll see once how it goes. And after this, I think we'll try and get on a schedule and do it so that it's a little bit more conducive to people who work. 4 o'clock in the afternoon does not work for a lot of people that work. But we'll have this first meeting. There will be no decisions made. It's dialogue, and anything that has to be decided by the council. If there's any votes, it will come back to the council, like at our July meeting or something. So there's no decisions no motions that will be made at this meeting. It's a purpose of opening dialogue and discussing items with them.
We could do
on them.
a Zoom meeting of this too, if that would be helpful to some that might have a logistic issue about getting here, they might have the time to do it, if there's interest in that.
You mean for this meeting?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's more the time. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon is a difficult time for.
I mean, I do agree, it's nice to have a way to get in if you can get on there, but I personally will have meetings at that time period for work.
Is there a peace pipe?
All right.
Okay.
So Rose, as the liaison for the Board of Ed and as the mayor, you go to these meetings and you ask questions and they don't answer them?
Right, they don't answer.
Well, what do you ask them, in like a public comment or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's
which is-
similar here. I mean, we don't always have a dialogue.
Right, but it's tough to.
Right.
To have, like, it works better if I could speak during whatever.
Right.
You know, like if they're talking about finance, if I could speak during that time frame, but it's not open to public comment during that time. And so it's hard to do it. And then,
I get it.
so then you have to wait to the end of the meeting.
I'm sorry, I thought it was something that you're literally just asking a legit question. It's like,
So this is
not
strictly for
answering
the
it.
council and them, not for, it's not public.
No, it's a public meeting.
That's why we posted, just in case that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how many board members are coming, and I don't know how many council members, so it's just easier to post it,
I
and
have to take care of my mother that day, I don't know.
So,
I have more things that are pressing than the Board of Education right now.
okay, so now, are there any other citizen
That would
statements?
be interesting.
Okay, do I have a motion to go into executive session pursuant to section CGS 1-206B, real estate delinquent and deferred sewer, and also pursuant to CGS 61 to discuss possible sale of real property,
I'll make that
1599.
motion to go into executive session, including town manager, town attorney, town clerk, or well, who else we have to have that? Jerry's got to be
Tax
there.
collector.
Tax collector, Rory.
Rory.
Assistant top manager. You guys are probably, don't have to be part of the process, right? All right, so that should be it.
And me.
And of
Oh.
course, and
And
finance
Anthony.
director, Anthony.
Okay,
Sorry,
second?
Second.
Okay,
I always think of you on the.
all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll take a 5-minute